The following program is intended for mature audiences.
A democratic republic of sports. The Sportsocracy with ESPN Asheville hosts Tank Spencer and Jeremy Greene.
Welcome into the Week in Wheat Studios, weekandwheatbrewing.com. Drink different. I'm Jeremy Greene. This is Brian Haynes. This is the Detroit Lions 3-round mock draft. Detroit has had an interesting offseason, shipping Matt Stafford to L.A. They have Jared Goff, who they appear to want to give 1 year to. This team strikes me as a team that is going to be just accumulating assets. They know they're not going to be good next year. They're going to do this the right way. And I have full faith in Brad Holmes. Brian, at number 7, what would you do if you were the Detroit Lions?
Well, they have a lot of needs, and you're right. They're doing it right. A lot of these guys that sign in the offseason are all one-year contracts. I think what they're looking forward to is basically a losing season to try to get at a higher draft pick next year. Wide receiver, offensive line, cornerback, linebacker, defensive tackle. I mean, they need all these positions. I think that wide receiver is definitely something you need to go to. You lost Marvin Jones. You lost Kenny Galladay, of course, to the New York Giants. So there's some things that you need to fill, and I think that there's some wide receivers out there that can grab right here.
I agree with you. And they're the first team that makes a trade in this mock draft. They trade down from 7 to 9 with the Denver Broncos, adding the 71st pick, which is a third-round pick. They still get the guy they want.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle, who's one of my favorite players in this draft. I would love him as a piece that gets to come in. The biggest knock on Jalen Waddle is that he has limited experience. He played less than 1,000 snaps at Alabama. So how do you mitigate that? You bring him in for a year with Jared Goff. He'll have a year to work with Goff, and then he'll be ready, whether it's Sam Howell, Keaton Slovis, whoever the quarterback of the future of this team is a year from now.
Jalen Waddle has cheat code speed. He is unbelievable on crossing routes. He is coming off his ankle injury, but with saying that, he showed a lot by playing in the national championship game. He did not need to play that game at all, and he played for his teammates. And we around here love that kind of thing for sure.
Oh, I mean, Jalen Waddle became instantly one of my favorite players in this draft class. I think his high end is Tyreek Hill. I think the low side for Jalen Waddle is I hadn't even thought of it before I said it. I mean, his floor is so ridiculously high to me. I just don't see any way that he busts.
No, not at all.
I think he's such a competitive kid. He's such a gamer. I don't see any way that this doesn't go well, and I think he's an initial piece for Detroit. They're able to trade back 2 spots. They add an extra pick, and at the end of day 2, still get the guy that they want. Their second pick at 41, I have them taking Jabril Cox. This is an interesting guy because he's a bit of a tweener. Mm-hmm. He's as good of a coverage linebacker as you could ever want. He's very long. I think he has the ability with Dan Campbell and this whole scheme to be really good. The problem with him is that his tape in 2020 was not particularly good. He's very long. He's not necessarily a Dan Campbell player. He's not a bite your kneecaps kind of guy, but he's very multiple. And I think that will appeal to the Lions.
Yeah, his work ethic is through the roof. He played really, really well from coming from an FCS school. He transferred into LSU, and you didn't tell that there was much of a difference. I think that this guy is still learning how to play the game, and I think coming into a franchise that might be able to mold him into what they want him to do is going to be fantastic. He has outstanding range. He does play a little bit upright on the second level, but he's very, very quick, and I think this is an opportunity for them to start working on their defense.
In a division where you have Cole Kmet and Irv Smith and Robert Tonyan, he is one of the best coverage linebackers I've ever seen on tight ends. I think this is a chess piece for them and would be an excellent addition to this team. With the 71st pick in the 3rd round, I have him taking Jamar Johnson out of Indiana. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that really pops on tape to me. This is a safety class that beauty is very much in the eye of the beholder. Depending on what it is that you're looking for, some guys are going to be very highly rated, others are going to be lower rated. I tend to really like Jamar Johnson.
Yeah, Jamar Johnson, there is a little bit of a knock on him. If you remember correctly, he did throw a punch in the game versus Michigan, so there is some character issues there. He did start at quarterback and safety, so there is some versatility there for him. He's not the greatest tackler in the world, and he does have some issues on some run pursuit, but he's got above average ball skills. And I think this is one of those guys that you could play in multiple different positions, which gives you an opportunity to use him all over the place.
I look at him with Aaron Glenn coming in as the defensive coordinator, and I just see that as a guy, much like the pick right after him, that's so multiple that I don't see how they wouldn't appeal to Aaron Glenn and the Lions. Their second, third-round pick, the previous pick's the one they got from Denver. This is the one that they currently have. So the last one was a projection. This is a guy that I look at Afito and Malifonwu, and this strikes me very much as a guy that would fit that bite your kneecap style because he's a very long corner. I think he can be taught to be very aggressive.
Plays at my school, Syracuse. He was very good. He could move. I think he played a lot of safety at Syracuse, but I definitely see him more as a corner. He backpedals very, very well. He's changed the direction, needs some work. But this is, again, you're looking at, you're beefing up your secondary with these two picks. Both of these guys, I think, again, talk about the versatility that they played multiple positions. I think that's good for them going forward.
They're both projects, and they both would be being taught by Aaron Glenn, who's a guy that's obviously near and dear to my heart as a Jets legend. I think he's an up-and-coming coach in this league. And I look at guys like this, and they have talent that justifies them being taken much higher than they will be. And I think Aaron Glenn can get the most out of them.
Yeah.
Their last pick, I doubled up on wide receiver because they're that bad at receiver. Cade Johnson's an interesting. He's a case study guy for me. He played at a lower tier at North Dakota State. He was a receiver for Trey Lance, who oddly enough, in this draft as well.
That's right.
I like this kid better than most. And I think if he were sitting there at the end of the third round, I don't see how Detroit could say no.
Yeah. Cade Johnson, didn't he play at San Diego State or South Dakota State? I'm not sure.
Is it South? It is South Dakota State.
I think he played South Dakota State.
You're right.
But the kid is from a smaller school, but he plays fast and he is super explosive. This kid, he didn't do very well on 50-50 balls, and he tightens up a little bit. He needs to tighten up his route running a little bit from what I've noticed about him. Here's the thing, when you're playing at the small schools like that, you don't have the level of competition at cornerback normally that you would have at some of the higher schools, so there's going to have that knock. But there's been plenty of wide receivers who have come from smaller schools that have done very, very well. Again, you need wide receiver help. You're looking at Terrell Williams and Brashad Perriman as your only two wide receivers at this point right now, right? Yep. I don't think they have anybody else signed on a team.
Yeah, I put North Dakota State on the screen. It gets really taxing doing all of these.
He does 7 rounds draft mock of every single player. He's allowed to make a little bit of a mistake here.
Yeah, Cade Johnson's a guy that's been, the quality of production has been there since the minute he stepped on campus. That's one of the things that really intrigues me about him. Obviously, they did not play in 2020. Yeah, no, I'm getting to the point of I'm wearing out so much on the, they only played 2 games. So they played I don't care anymore. Yeah. I'm going back to the tape. I'm trying to see old tape with new eyes. I like Cade Johnson. I think he could be a piece for them in the long term. He's a bit of a hat on a hat with Jalen Waddle, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
This is a draft where I'm not sure. There's going to be a run on receivers. There's a run in this mock draft on receivers. Cade Johnson's actually the last one in that tier left, and I think Detroit would hop on it with a comp pick there. I think they would hop on it and be very happy that they got 2 weapons that they can use with Jared Goff, get a year of experience underneath their belt before they wind up with their ultimate quarterback next year. Live from the Wicked Weed studio, this has been the Sportsocracy's 3-round mock of the Detroit Lions, brought to you by Wicked Weed Brewing, wickedweedbrewing.com. Drink different.